everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today I want to do a little bit of a root reveal for you. So yesterday I transplanted a bunch of my seedlings from these 2-inch pots into these 4-inch pots, and as I was doing this I was thinking to myself, well, first of all, the roots on these things look phenomenal. So I'm doing something a little different that I think is giving rise to these really nice roots on these seedlings and the associated very rapid growth that comes along with it. So I thought, well, okay, this is good for me. I like seeing this. And then I thought to myself, okay, I want to make a video of this, and I want to share with you what I'm seeing. I've got a lot of these seedlings, as I've shared with you in the past, and I'm transplanting what I think are the best ones. There's some really good ones from these 2-inch to 4-inch pots, like I said before. I'm getting a little tight on space. I'm being very selective with the plants that I am transplanting. And then what I'm doing is I'm putting these in these 4-inch pots, and then these go in these hangers, and so I put these up in my pergola. I already have I think 3 of these in my pergola. I don't have room for too many more. I can try some more, but it's getting a little crowded and I'm being very selective. But again, let's get back to this. What I want to do is share with you what the roots look like on these plants, some of which are growing phenomenally well. I have most of these are actually a few months old, maybe like 6 months after deflasking. But still, what's going on in here is that I've got really big roots on my deflasked orchids, and I think it's part of the flasking process that's giving me these huge plants with big roots. And then I'm doing a treatment after deflasking that I think is allowing the roots to either grow or maintain their nice form. So again, what I want to share with you is that, and what I'm starting to do now with all of my recently deflasked orchids is I'm giving them an application of mycorrhizal fungi. And what happens again with the mycorrhizal fungi, it's my belief that these fungi are going to associate with the roots. They'll allow the orchids for enhanced nutrient uptake and water uptake. But in addition to that, they acclimate the orchids to the real world, and they initiate the defense response mechanism of these orchids. These are beneficial fungi, but they'll turn on some of the defense responses, and these are general defense responses. I like using the mycorrhizae because it's a mix of different fungi that's in this mix. A lot of times what you have when you get fungal problems, and this is the problem, these are pathogenic, what I'm going to talk about is pathogenic fungi that invade and will kill your plant. There's a lot of different fungi that are out there that'll get these guys, and depending on the fungus you have to use specific fungicides. So rather than do this, what I like to do is inoculate them with beneficial microbes that may crowd out and may outcompete the pathogenic fungi, but then also turn on a general defense response. What it does is it kind of alters for those of you that use a lot of fungicide, it may alter your use of the fungicides. Some of the fungicides that you use will, of course, negatively impact the beneficial fungi that are here. And what I try to do really is minimize the amount of fungicides that I use. The main fungus that I have issues with is black rot. It's very characteristic, and there's a really nice and expensive fungicide that I use to combat black rot. And so what I try to do is minimize the use of that fungicide through the application of the beneficial microbes, beneficial mycorrhizal fungi. I haven't really applied them to my mature plants yet. I think I will start doing that. What I'm going to do is I have some colleagues that are pathologists and actually beneficial microbe experts, and I'm going to contact them and have a little bit more of a story to tell you in some later video. I would also like to mention that so what I'm working on is these mycorrhizal fungi, and I had somebody contact me, a viewer, thank you very much for that comment, where they use a beneficial bacteria. So it's another situation where you can have beneficial bacteria, beneficial fungi, and to best of my knowledge, no one has generated a mix of bacteria and fungal inocula for orchids. And that's what I'd like to look into a little bit and see if that can be produced. So I've contacted some of the producers of these things. It's not a huge market, but I want to see where things are, and I want to see if I can push a beneficial microbe mix for orchids, see if anyone bites on that. Anyway, let's get back to this stuff. So what I'm going to do is just show you how I repot. These are 4 different hybrids that I've generated. This is actually not mine. This is a hybrid that was generated by Bill, who's part of my breeding group, Boeing, Breeding Orchids by Intelligent but Naive Growers. And this is one of his first hybrids, and it's doing really well. So I want to include that in the mix. All these other ones are the hybrids that I've generated. My repot, and what I do for the repot is I'll first put, and I can show you this, this is lava rock. So I first put, it's heavy, everything's heavy. I want to first, and some of this stuff is big, so this is a really coarse lava rock. I mean, some of these pieces are huge and some of them are small, but I put them just in the bottom of the pot just to kind of cover things up. The next thing that I do, and this is one of my hybrids, and this is a reveal. I don't know how this is going to look. So I'll take the tag out, and then I'm going to take the plant out here. And this is in there pretty good, which means that the roots are pretty good. I save these, clean them out with bleach, and I use them over because they cost me 20 cents each, and I don't want to throw them out. It's good for recycling. It's good for the orchids. It's good for me. Anyway, what I want to show you is what I do, and I want to share with you how the roots look on this. So I don't see any. A lot of times when you do this, you'll see dead roots. This is just pretty nice. And what's happened is the roots are in the shape of the pot, which means that we're going to kind of open things up a little bit when these get transplanted into this next pot here. So what we have is the new growth is coming out of this side of the orchid. And I'll show you, I think you can see how nice these roots look, but I'll show you how the roots look on some of these other plants as we move forward. But again, the roots on these things, I mean, all these roots are nicely colored. I have them out. I don't like leaving them out. They're pretty wet, and that's a problem here because I'm going to put them in. There's just leca on the bottom, and then I'm going to put these, lava stone, lava rock on the bottom, and then I'm going to put leca on the top. So what I do is I put the new growth kind of in the middle of this, and because the plant, and the other thing, I mean, these could probably stay in here for another 6 months to a year, but I'm anxious to get them out because I want them to grow. All right, so the next thing I do is I kind of hold this in place, and then I will just put the lava stone around them. And this is, I should mention, this is recycled lava stone, which what that means is, again, because I'm thrifty, I have lava stone that when my orchids pass away, which they do, I keep the lava stone and I autoclave it, so I sterilize it. So this is good, clean lava, because when the orchids, you don't want to reuse it without cooking it in some way. Some people put things in the oven. I autoclave it just to make sure that it's clean. Okay, so this is what I do, and this is a huge, huge pot for this orchid, but we'll see how it goes. And what I'm going to do after I get them all done, I'll take them into my front yard and hose them and water them really, really well. I should also mention that I'm doing this and I'm comfortable with using such a dry mix because this is Southwest Florida and this is the start of rainy season. So what's been happening the past few days, and it's the great thing about orchids in this environment, is in the afternoon we get thunderstorms. Every afternoon we get thunderstorms. Now I think we're not really in rainy season yet, it's an early start to it, but this is typically what happens in the summertime here. And like I said, we're not quite there yet. Okay, this one I'm really excited about. I should say, is there any, yeah, the parent of this first one of the parents that you actually, this was not, okay, this is the one, this is an mistake. So Momolani Rainbow is one of the parents of this guy. This one has, this is one of my hybrids where Hawaiian Prominence is one of the parents. So let me take this out. Oh man, and the roots are really grabbing on to the pot on this one. And this, again, this has just been a few months. But there is, okay, there are maybe a couple of roots that have died on here. there's a new pseudo, I see an eye that's expanding here. So this is going to put out even some more growth. So this is really doing, this plant is really doing well. All right, so this next pot, I'm going to put lava stone or a lava rock in the bottom of this just to cover up the holes. And then I'm going to put this thing in here. The new growth is coming out right there. You can see it nicely. The next one I'll get closer on that so you can see what's going on. But it's the same story, and this is pretty simple to do, and this is pretty easy. It is a little bit scary because of how dry it looks, but the leca is nice because it does wick the moisture and it stays wet a little longer than you would think. And what I have in here is a combination of the giant leca and the medium-sized leca. All right, so this one, got to make sure that I put my tag in with this, like that. Okay, so the next one is, we'll do this. So this is the one, I'm having a hard time pulling the tag out, which means that the roots have attached to the tag. So this is the one that my colleague generated. This is one of his crosses. It's growing nicely. And this is in there. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's in there pretty good. Okay, and the roots weren't stuck to it that bad. So let me shake it off. And again, the roots are in the shape of the pot. I'm not, a lot of times you're in situations where people will try to get off all of the old potting mix, and I just don't think I need to do that here, as long as it's, because the roots have to have something to, it's good to not damage the roots. You don't want to remove the stuff so much so that the roots are damaged. But again, look at the nice root system on this plant. Okay, and then so the new growth is right there. So I'm going to put that in the middle. And then add the lava stone. Again, this is just so simple and so straightforward. The only thing I'm not going to show you, but I don't know, you don't really need me to show you how to water the plants in. Okay, and remember, put the tag in. All right, I'm going to do this Is it getting monotonous yet? Well, that's just how it is. Okay, the last one, and this is a fun one for me. So this is, oh man, tag stuck in here again. So one of the parents on this, one of my hybrids, and this is Mahina Yahiro Mishima. And even though this is a 2-inch pot, the roots just really grabbed on here. And I'll show you what this looks like. I'm going to get a close-up of this. But this has 2 new pseudobulbs growing out of this. And I'm going to do something I normally don't do. So we'll catch a little bit of a different angle on this. So here we go. But I want to show you the root system close up and how this thing looks. But it's just a really extensive root system. There may be a dead root right here, but for the most part, with everything else that I'm seeing, it's just a really phenomenal root system. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the same thing that we did previously, and we've got the growth, the new growth is just coming out on both sides of this orchid, so I'm just going to center this guy in this pot, and it's the same thing, and it's pretty straightforward. And I'm using up all of my recycled leca at this point. So I've got big bags of this in my shed, which is behind me. And as you can see, I don't know, I think you can see behind me here, I think you can see all of my seedlings and how they're, those are right here behind me. I think you can see here and here. So those are my seedlings, and I got a lot of stuff coming. And I don't think, tag in here, so I don't think I have space to grow all of these like this in these 4-inch pots. So it's interesting. I'm giving orchid talks to the local orchid groups, and I'm bringing along some of these plants for fun. All right, so that's all I have today. So all I'm going to do on this is just to make sure to water them in really good. I'm not going to fertilize them until the regular fertilizing. So there was a question about when, as far as fertilizer, when do I treat them? As soon as I bring these seedlings, outside, as soon as I bring them home, that's when they become like a regular outside orchid, so I'll start fertilizing. I do use a time release fertilizer on these orchids as well. I'm not going to apply them today, but I'm just going to water these in because they came out of a really wet environment. I'm going to put these guys up in my pergola, and they're on their own. I think they look pretty good, and I think they look really happy, but we'll see how it goes. All right, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, again, I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.